This is Mara Jane, and you're listening to The Unseen Perspective. Hello and welcome back to The Unseen Perspective. My name is Mara Jane. I am your host, your visually impaired host, and today I'm going to be starting off a very special little mini-series, I guess, that will be talking about assistive technology. So the special devices that I use as a visually impaired person to get around in the world, I guess, do things in a way that is different, but in a way equal to the sighted world. So obviously I don't want to say I can't do things for myself, because obviously I can, but it looks very different than it would for a sighted person. So for example, I can't read small print unless I have some sort of magnification, and I can't see things from far away, just little things like that. So I have lots of devices to help me with my everyday challenges or differences, and in this mini-series, I'm going to be exploring a bunch of those and explaining how they work and showcasing them. But today, I thought I would just do an interview or a little introduction to some of these devices. So I have here with me a bunch of my assistive technology devices. So I'll just show them and explain them and give a little description of them. So I have a lot of electronic braille displays, also note takers. So the main one that I use would be my Braille Note Apex from Humanware. And if you open it up, so basically what it is it's just a Braille computer. So you open it up and you have the display at the bottom with the Braille cells, and this is refreshable Braille, so it updates in real time. It's not just like a little short, like you can go back and forth and stuff using these thumb keys on the bottom. And there's a keyboard that looks a lot different than a print keyboard would. It only has, 9 buttons on it, whereas a normal keyboard for print would have a lot more buttons than that. So it also has a scroll wheel in the middle. I don't usually use that, but it's used to navigate through menu items or documents or whatever. But the 6 dots, so if you don't know how Braille works, the 6 main little keyboard buttons are used to type Braille. So each Braille cell is 6 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so to type in Braille, each letter or each contraction, which is like a shortened word or a few letters combined into one cell, is just a different combination of dots. So yeah, and the 2 keys on the end are used to delete and to return, so like the enter key. There's also a lot of plugs and buttons on the side that serve various purposes, but I won't get too much into it today because we'll explore it in more detail in a later episode. But I also have a case that I keep a lot of stuff in, like my ID and some coins, some money. Why is my voice so shaky? Sorry. And yeah, just some little items that, because I carry this with me everywhere. So anything I need on the go, then I'll just have in my Braille note case. So next up, we have this Focus 40 is what it's called. It's a Braille display. It's not a Braille note taker. So you connect it to a device, and basically you can read whatever's on the screen on the display, and you can type into the computer or whatever it's connected to with a keyboard. And it looks very similar in a way to the Braille note taker that I just described, but it's longer, skinnier. It has 40 cells, so it's a little longer, and it has some buttons, some thumb keys that you can use to navigate around. I don't usually use this, but I probably should use it more often, just because it would make my computer use a lot more pleasant and a lot less back straining and eye straining. I also have this little, I think Kindle would be the technical term for it, but it's like a little Braille display. It's not a Braille note taker, but you can use it to read books. So it's just, it's like a tiny little Braille note. But I don't usually use this either because I don't like how short the the display is, because you have to like keep clicking the buttons to read a book. So I don't usually use that, but it is very handy. It's very compact and small, and I can read without hurting my eyes. Next up, we have this Orbit reader. It is very similar looking to the Focus 40, and similar function. I have not used this very much. I just got it recently, so I haven't used it very much, but I'm hoping it will be helpful with my computer and my iPad. My computer and my iPad are also a form of assistive technology. It just has software or whatever built into it. Next, we have another Braille device. This is the Focus 14. So that's Velcro. It's just a very small version of the Focus 40. So it has 14 cells instead of 40. And it's got this blue and black color scheme. That's pretty nice. And I don't usually use that either, again, just because of the short display. Now, away from the Braille devices, because that's not all I use, we have some magnification devices. So there are many handheld magnifiers on the market. Some are better than others. I don't typically use any of them because I usually read either in Braille or on my computer or on some electronic device directly. But with a lot of these, you can turn them on. There's a light that helps better the picture, and you just put them over your whatever you're reading, as long as it's, in print. Obviously, this probably wouldn't be used with a computer or an iPad, just because that would be redundant. But if you're reading something in print, if you have to read something, say it doesn't have to be like a novel or anything like that. Just say you're trying to make a recipe or whatever, and you just have to read something short. So this would be helpful for that type of thing. So you would run it over, and you could zoom in, you could freeze the screen. So, oh yeah, and you can also change the contrast. So if you want to, you can read like white on black or black on yellow or whatever. So, like I said, I usually use electronic magnifiers, but there's also that as an option, or like those little, basically magnifying glasses, but that's really impractical. So I don't typically read books that way. I actually love to read audiobooks as well as Braille books. So I have an audiobook reader. It's called a Victor Reader Stream, and I love this thing so much. But it's just this little compact rectangle. I think I discussed this in an earlier episode. It's a little rectangle, little gray rectangle with some buttons on it, and you can listen to books, podcasts, the radio. I think you can even look things up on Wikipedia somehow, but I haven't really used that feature much. So yeah, I mean, you can do everything directly on here as long as you get it connected to like your Bard account or Bookshare or whatever. And so you search by just typing in this number keypad like an old flip phone, and you can have different bookshelves and make bookmarks, and there's a sleep timer. There's just all kinds of functions in this little handy little device. I love it dearly. So I also have with me today this thing that I never use, but I figured I'd show it because it's kind of cool. It reads bills, so it doesn't really work anymore, but yeah, it's really old. But you can supposedly put a bill inside of it and click a button, and it would tell you what the bill was. So like money, obviously. So I don't have this with me today, but it's a little plastic device that you can use to punch Braille into your money, which I think is really cool, but I don't usually use that just because I use the folding system for the money, so I don't really need to have Braille because I can just feel how it's folded and then I'll know what it is. So those are a select few of the assistive technology devices that I use. Obviously, I don't use all of these on a day-to-day basis, if I use them at all, but they are devices that we in the visually impaired community use and that I probably have used at some point or another. So this series is going to delve a little deeper into each of these devices, and so I'll explain how they work, I'll kind of show their functions, and talk about what they're good for, and we'll just explore all the assistive technology in more specific detail, one at a time. But today was just a little introduction to that, so I'll see you next time if we do that or something else. But just look forward to more of those assistive technology tutorials, I guess. Modules, explanatory podcasts, whatever you want to call them. But in the meantime, you can follow me on Instagram at The Unseen Perspective 2024. I would very much appreciate that. And if you have any questions for me or for any of the guests that I ever have on the show, you can email me at theunseenperspective2024@gmail.com. And I would very much appreciate it if you would give us a listen on Spotify and YouTube. Just search The Unseen Perspective. And another great resource, if you like podcasts and if you like to learn about the visually impaired community, would be Discover Podcasting at KSSB. You can follow them on Instagram at KSSB Podcast or listen to them wherever you get your podcasts. But that's all I have for all of y'all today. So I hope you have a wonderful week, a wonderful day, evening, morning, whenever you're listening to this. And I cannot wait to join you all next week. But in the meantime, bye!